And good morning, everyone. Welcome to our next installment of the Daily News. This is April 27th, and today at 2:30, uh, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, is going to announce his plans to reopen the state of Texas. And it's important to know the president sets the guidelines under our federalism system. President, CDC, they set the guidelines. But then the reality of it is carried out by the governor. The governor is the one who issues the orders, who lets us do things, not do things, that sort of thing. So we'll see what he's going to say. It'll be at 2:30 today. It'll be broadcast on TV, on the internet. Should be really interesting to say. Okay, let's just quickly go through the numbers regarding the coronavirus. There's almost 3 million people worldwide who are identified as having the coronavirus. In the United States, there's almost a million people. So look at it this way: 1 out of 3 people with the virus have it here in the United States. And, there's all sorts of reasons for that. One of it could be simply testing. Another one could be we're more honest about our cases than some other countries. Um, but we have to confront the fact that 1 out of 3 cases of this virus has occurred in the United States. Here in Texas, there's about 24,600 people identified as of yesterday at noontime who have the virus. Um, Worldwide, a little bit more than 200,000 have died. In the United States, this is just a tragedy. 55,000 people have died of this coronavirus. At the rate we're growing, later this week we will pass the number of people who were killed in Vietnam, and we'll have done it in less than 90 days. It's only been 81 days since this virus hit the United States, since the first victim died. Okay, here in the state of Texas, 648 people have been killed from it. That's an increase of 25 from Saturday. And here in Abilene, there are 222 cases. And here's the really interesting thing: 36 of those cases are firefighters. We've had in this city really interesting spreads of the disease. The firefighters, Abimar, the food company, the public health department, and disability resources. It's like seems to be popping up in clusters. So that's just really an interesting thing. Also, it's important to note that Immigration and Customs Enforcement has a facility to detain people who are here illegally. It's in Anson, just north of Abilene, and there's been a breakout there as well in that detention facilities. And there's 2 state prisons outside of Abilene. Um, Both of them have a large number of people in the hundreds who are under medical restriction. In essence, they're being watched to see if they have the virus. Okay, here's another way to look at it, this whole thing. Okay, so the first death occurred 81 days ago today. 2 months ago, there were no deaths. Okay, March 25th, there was 938 deaths. A month later, there was 53,000 deaths. We need to understand that we have lost 50,000 people in the month of April. Just amazing. Okay, um, totally different subject. Anybody know where Kim Jong-un is? He seems to have disappeared. There is photographic evidence of a train outside of his facility. That train is usually the one that carries him around. He doesn't like flying, so there's this train there. That's his summer palace, if you will. Um, but he hasn't been seen. He missed an important event to celebrate his grandfather, about 2 weeks ago. And then this past weekend, he missed another important event where he has been all of the previous years. So there's all sorts of speculation. South Korea says there's no indication that he is dead. There was all sorts of things on social media, especially on Saturday night. TMZ reported that he was dead. So where he is, we just don't know. What his condition is, we don't know. If he were to die, who takes over? We don't know. There's speculation it might be his sister. But again, we just don't know. And this is a country that has nuclear weapons. Okay. Um, just a couple of things real quickly. One is that there's new description coming out, quarantine fatigue. It's the fact that American people are getting tired of being stuck in quarantine for 30, 40 days or so. And so this past weekend, the weather was great in a lot of places. A lot of people went out. Southern California, they went to the beaches. Florida, they went to the beaches. A lot of people went shopping. In Georgia, you can get your hair cut. You can get your hair all styled. You can go get a tattoo. So people are starting to leave their homes. And even if government still wants us in our homes, there's a simple reality. If enough people are going to get out, people are going to get out. The government can't do much about it. And that's, I think, what we're experiencing. I think the people in the United States are really starting to vote with their feet saying, I got to get out outside. I got to get out. Okay. Um, the president's senior economic advisor is a guy named Kevin Hassett, and he was on TV yesterday. And he said, and this is a quote, make no mistake, it is a really grave situation. He then compared our unemployment rate, what's coming up, to the Great Depression. Hasn't been as bad since the Great Depression as it's going to be. And we're going to get more unemployment numbers this week. It's economically, and as I'm sure many of you know, we are in for a tough time. The question is, how long will this tough time last? If people get back to work, they start going again to go to work, maybe we'll be able to come back. But if the virus comes back as well, then we might have to shut down again. So, let's see. Uh, just another thing. This is a presidential election year. This will be the last thing I'll talk about. Presidential election year. Joe Biden, Donald Trump. What do the polls say? People are starting to pay attention to polls in various cities. I mean, in various states. And what we're finding out is that Joe Biden consistently leads in those polls. Let me give you some examples. In Georgia, Joe Biden has 66% of the vote. In Ohio, Joe Biden is 62%. In Pennsylvania, Joe Biden is 58%. Okay, that's nice. We're 6 months away from the election. And if you compare where Joe Biden is today to where Hillary Clinton was 4 years ago, Hillary Clinton was ahead of where Joe Biden is today. So, supporters of President Trump can take heart in that. They're still very much in the game. Supporters of Joe Biden can take heart in it because, at least at this point, they're ahead in the polls. It is still so early. We got a long way to go. Okay, on that news is the last week of class. Make sure you do your assignments, and